Alright everybody, we're back for a follow-up video surrounding the Nook Color tablet experience. So if you guys remember from my last video, what I had done basically was rooted the thing and started installing Android apps and a custom home screen and all that stuff. So what I decided to do yesterday was I took things a step further and I actually installed a custom ROM, which is CyanogenMod7, which is based on the Android 2.3 Gingerbread software. Which happens to be the same software that I'm running on my rooted HTC Evo here. So I kind of got used to it running on my phone, and it's nice to have a big unified experience across all my devices. So anyway, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at what it looks like now, and I must admit it is much more aesthetically pleasing, so much prettier now. And speaking of aesthetically pleasing and prettiness, I do apologize for the quality of the video. I'm recording this using a kind of a rinky-dink desktop webcam, so sorry about that. Anyway, let's take a look at what's going on here. So as you can see here, for those of you who have used CyanogenMod7 on phones or anything like that, it does let you change your lock screen. So instead of the little slide tab from the Nook Color, I do have the lens one. You probably can't see it that well, but the time and the date are right here. So you see that when you open it. And then when you turn on the device, as you can see, the icons are grouped much closer together, and you can fit way more stuff on the screen. On the custom or on the original version of Android that was running on the Nook that I rooted previously, the spacing was really wonky. Like for example, the space between apps was limited to that. There was four columns, so you had one app here, one app here, one app here, and one app here. And it looked kind of ugly. It looked really spaced out unnecessarily. So that's one of the cool things that I like about this much more, is that the organization is there. You can make it look as nice and as organized as you'd like. So CyanogenMod7 comes with ADW launcher by default, which I went ahead and I left because it works really well. You've got all your icons that you can, pretty much all the icons that you can stick on the home screen. As you can see here, I'm rocking one of the little beautiful widgets from my phone. That's very, very pretty. And it is hot as hell here right now, so that sucks. But, so as you can see, we've got that going. Very, very nice animations and whatnot. And like I said, one of my favorite things is having all the icons grouped up together. So I've got my beautiful widgets up here, time, date, and weather. I've got the apps that I use the most down here, and then I've got the power control where I can turn on or off Wi-Fi, adjust screen brightness, and then down here in the little dock, I have some of the apps that I use the most, which is my, once again, sacrilegious, I know, the Amazon Kindle app, which is what I use to read my books. And the reason why I have it displayed like this with white text on black is because I usually read before I go to sleep. So what I like to do is turn off all the lights in my room and then just snuggle in bed with this here. And with the black background, it's not as bright, it's not as tough on your eyes. So I have that. I've got the middle is the app drawer, obviously. Familiar with this here. And as you can see here, that's one of my favorite things about Android is the small little touches, the graphical touches. If I scroll all the way to the bottom or the top of the list, you're going to see the green glow down at the bottom. See that there? Very, very subtle, but I think it's one of those things that's just so pretty to look at, and it brings so much joy to my heart. So I have that. I did notice that the stock Android browser is a little bit choppy, like the panning and the zooming is a little slow and stuff, so I went ahead and I downloaded Opera Mobile, which is very, very fast, and with this new version, it actually supports Flash too. So if any sites have embedded Flash on them, you'll be able to play it within the browser. So ask anybody who's using an Android phone for that. It's not the smoothest, coolest experience, but it is completely functional. You know what? You can watch Flash video and whatnot. So if there's something that you absolutely have to watch and you're on your tablet, you can do it. So there's that. I know it's really hard to see the text and stuff like that, but Opera is really cool about the speed and the pinch to zoom and everything. So if you're an Android user and you haven't tried out Opera Mobile, I highly recommend it. It's really cool. And there's two versions, Opera Mini and Opera Mobile. Try Mobile, which is the one that I prefer. One of the other big changes here that I very, very much appreciate from the CyanogenMod team is that, like I mentioned in my other video, there's no Android keys. You don't have your back home and all that stuff down here. You just have the Nook button that basically takes you back home. One of the cool things that the dev team did up here is that they added the some of the main buttons up top. So you'll see up here. Let me see if you can see it. I've got the Wi-Fi, the battery, the time, and then these two buttons over here on the top right are really cool. This one is your menu button, so you tap that. That gives you your menu options, and they also have the back button up there. So pretty much no matter what you're doing, that was the problem with the one that came on the Nook by default, was that down at the bottom you had your back button, but for some reason on some home screens or some applications it would disappear. So you really had no way of going back without using that little soft keys dot that I talked about in my other video. But luckily, it's pretty cool. It actually stays up there, as you can see the back button's up there. So at any time that you want to go back, you just kind of tap there, and that takes you back. So very, very cool. The performance is pretty much on par with the other stock ROM that came with the Nook. I did overclock this one as well. I think I've got it running at 1.1 gigahertz or something like that. So again, for 2-year hardware or whatever that comes in the Nook, not bad at all. Very, very enjoyable. Let me just go ahead and show a couple of other apps. It does have pretty much all the functionality that you would expect from Android. So there we go. It's Google Maps there working pretty good. And once again, we can showcase some gaming because you know what, it works really well. So once again, if you're in the same conundrum that I was, you know what, you want a cheap tablet, it's actually gotten a little harder to justify now, especially with the Samsung with the Samsung Galaxy Tab Wi-Fi version coming out. It's only $350, so it's $100 more than this. But you know what? If you got $250 to throw down on a tablet, and you don't necessarily want the latest and greatest, and you'd like a little do-it-yourself project, this is definitely cool. I don't regret my purchase whatsoever, and I can totally see myself holding onto this for another while until some other cheap and cool tablet comes around. Because, like I said in my last video, this is really just a toy that I used to read, to browse, or whatever whenever I don't want to come onto the desktop and get the full desktop experience. So I guess that's it for now. Just wanted to show you guys a quick peek. One thing I want to show you too is the gingerbread settings down here. Really cool. Instead of about phone, it says about tablet. And right there it shows your latest Android version, whatnot. I'm Android 2.3. The kernel that I'm running, all that good stuff. And another thing that I wanted to mention on briefly is the battery life has been freaking awesome. Earlier today I got to 15%, and I had been using it pretty heavily. Obviously, when you first get a toy or you first make some changes to your toy, you want to play with it and you want to kind of keep it in your hands, see what it can do and stuff like that. It got through 26 hours of fairly heavy use. Obviously 8 hours at night where it wasn't being used very much, but 26 hours before it gave me the 15% battery life. So the battery life's pretty great, and I left the Wi-Fi on the entire time, so I can imagine if I turn off Wi-Fi for a few hours at night or anything like that, you could probably get a full 2 or 3 days worth out of it, use out of it. So pretty cool for a traveling companion. Like I said, if you want to read some books before you go to sleep, which I am very, very avid to do. So you can see my little list here of books that I have. Very, very cool little device, and it just keeps getting better and better with the Android community. So once again, if you guys have a Nook Color, I highly recommend it. Just Google around a little bit, look for installing CyanogenMod7 on Nook, and you can find some fairly simple instructions. You just need the real simple stuff. All you need is basically your Nook Color, a couple of downloads, and like a computer with a flash drive reader, so that way you can image and burn the stuff you need onto the flash drive to flash this ROM. So once again, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm very sorry for the poor quality. But let me know if you guys have any comments or any questions. If you guys want to see any follow-up stuff, I'll be more than happy to go ahead and try to get that going for you. So for now, we'll see you guys later.